So AABA is that 32 bars divided times 4 measures, 8 measures in 8 measures each in 4 sections. The B section, or the bridge, doesn't have the title in it traditionally. The 3 A sections, the 2 above the bridge and the one at the end, also called the release, contains the title. That's the conventional classic AABA form. And then we had examples of that. And the modified AABA, so-called, is AABA form, the conventional 32. It's AABA with the title in the A sections, but not in the B. But it's not sticking to the 32 measures. You might have, 24 measures in the first A section or 24 in the second. So it's not sticking to just 32 measures over 4 sections. You can do as many as you want to, but it's still AABA in that the title, and that's the important thing, the title shows up in the A sections but not in the B. That's the only distinction. Yeah. We talk about bridges a good bit in this thing. Now the bridge in the AABA is a different bridge.
Okay.
The B in the AABA form is called bridge, but it's not the verse-chorus form bridge. Okay. But that's where it originated, was in that AABA form. So AABA, modified AABA, and then this new one called country bridge, which is what we're going to talk about today. Again, it's a hybrid of the modified AABA. See what I've done here? AABA, modified AABA, and now country bridge is a hybrid of the modified AABA with, it repeats the bridge and the final release. It repeats the B section and the final A, usually with a solo or an instrumental stuck in the middle. So country bridge would be AABA, solo, BA. Got it? AABA, solo section. And that solo section is usually over the A because the B repeats after that. But it can be over a number of things. Or it can be brand new music, in fact, if you wanted to. So let's listen to this. Did you follow that in your head?
Yeah.
If you know the AABA and you know the modified AABA, which is nothing but AABA with more measures allowed, then the country bridge is a take on the AABA or the modified AABA in its form, AABA, solo, over usually an A, then repeats the bridge and repeats the final A. It's a great form. Here's one that I wrote with Darryl Worley that shows the same kind of thing. Too many pockets. What really helps with these forms and with all the other forms that we're going to be studying is where the title shows up. Title placement is really important as far as getting your head wrapped around what the form is. And if this wasn't helping our own songwriting, why would we do this? It would be useless, really. It'd be pointless. We'd just be listening going, oh yeah, that's called the AABA, cool. So what? But again, my contention is if you learn to listen to these things and you give them a name, you have to give them a name so that when you hear them in other songs, you'll say, oh, that's AABA form. Or, oh, that's interesting, it's country bridge, except the solo's over the B section. Interesting. Or, oh, the solo's over music I've never heard before. So when it departs from convention, you learn the conventions. That's what I'm just showing you. These are as basic conventions as there are, so that if you learn that and you know the names of stuff like bridge, release, AABA, country bridge, if you learn that, then when you hear music, songs, you'll be able to go, oh, that's that country bridge form, cool. Or, oh, that's country bridge form except the solo's over the B section. That's neat. You'll be able to you know where it departs. And all of this is you're drawing these mental maps by listening intentionally like that and identifying what you're hearing. You're drawing these mental representations that will come out in your writing. Some of these things in this text has a little box by it. You see that little box on page 22? begin with the end in mind. These are sort of drop-down menu kind of things that are sort of out of the flow of the lesson, but that show up maybe right when you need them, and they're really good. And this book is, your textbook book is peppered with these things. Things I've learned over the years that can help. Helpful hints. Helpful hints. Like for this one, begin with the end in mind. That's always a helpful thing, especially if you're writing a narrative song.
What kind of song?
Like a narrative.
A narrative.
Like a fiction writer, novelist, often will start with the end or think from the end and get to it. They know where they're going. Now, doesn't mean that can't change, but if you know where you're going in a song, it'll make you finish it. It's awful sometimes to be writing a song and get into the second or third verse or whatever it is and not know how to finish it. That's bad. You should already, if you're having trouble writing a song, probably, and you get to the end of the song and you don't know what to do, it's because you left too many choices. You had too many choices. You had too many choices and you didn't decide. Now, I'm not saying that's always how you do it. A lot of times you write yourself into a title. A lot of times you write yourself into a surprise ending that you're like, wow, that showed up. Like I have a song that I wrote for my dad, about my dad. I wish I had my guitar. I didn't bring it because I didn't want to leave it in the mall parking lot for 4 hours.
Those cases?
Huh?
Nothing in those cases?
No, keyboards. But obviously you can start out on a journey thinking I know where I'm going, and then end up somewhere different that's even more exciting than you had first set out to do or to find. And I had a song I wrote. I say it for my dad. It's although I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure he was never a Boston Red Sox fan, and I don't think he read the Bible. But in the song he did, because you never let the truth get in the way of a good song.
Sure.
And but I wasn't sure what the ending was going to be. I just figured I would probably just write more about him. And it's kind of like it says and it was completely surprised me that I showed up in the end. It was a beautiful moment, and it's like he sure knows his Bible. He'll quote you any verse, but talk bad about the Red Sox, and you're gonna hear him curse. Does he always walk the line? Well, he can't. An angel he ain't. His weathered soul could use a little paint. Full-time sinner, sometimes saint. It's got this bridge, but he I started too high. But he loves his wife, and he loves his life. Old Jim Beam, John 3:16, a contradiction in a state of grace. Full-time sinner, sometimes saint. Second verse more about, quirky stuff. He's got a strong opinion, and he could be short on tack, but he would darn sure give you what?
The shirt off his back.
Shirt right off his back. I play that in concert when I do the James Taylor tribute. I always play this song, and 400 people will go, the shirt right off his back. It's a wonderful moment.
Yeah.
He lacks restraint, but he ain't going to change. His weather, sometimes people, it seems he's a little strange, something like that. Full-time sinner, sometimes saint, right? And then the chorus again. But he loves his wife and he loves his life. Old Jim Beam, John 3:16, a contradiction in a state of grace, which I think is a beautiful definition of what a human being is. A contradiction in a state of grace. I love that line. Full-time sinner, sometimes saint. And then the last chorus showed up, and I know the man, 'cause now that's who I am. I'm my dad, good and bad, and I will never, ever be ashamed of this full-time sinner, sometimes saint. A contradiction in a state of grace, full-time sinner, sometimes saint. Yeah, and so I figured, that was a complete surprise. I was going to do that last chorus tagging out. It was just going to be a little, little travelogue about who, his quirkiness. But then I don't know what happened, and the journey took me to a whole nother place, and I showed up in the song. So there's always these happy surprises, but it's like, you kind of have to know where you're going in a song.
Did you write that one by yourself, or was that a co-write?
I wrote it by myself, but it would have been just as honest with the right writer, with the right co-writer. It wouldn't have held me back with Darryl or somebody that you love, and you feel it would have. And so begin with the end in mind can be really helpful. It doesn't mean you have to stick with it, but often it justifies the song too. You go, you know what? I call it feeling the future. If you got a song title, and you're like, I think I know where this can go, and you feel good about where it might go, like at the end, you're finding the end, you're like, yeah, this is worth our time. Let's do it. Let's jump in. As opposed to, yeah, what else we got? Let's do something else, and you keep it in your hook book and you come back to it later perhaps, but it really helps justify the work. And it can save you from getting caught in the song at the end going, what do we do? We kill her off? That's a classic, that's a classic fiction writer thing. Especially if you're telling a story. If it's just about, I love you, let's sit in my truck, I don't know. But if it's a narrative, which a lot of these hints are about and help, is narrative songwriting. Begin with the end in mind. We wrote a song. Oh, well, I'll play it for you. Well, go listen to it. There's some examples there that I begin with the end in mind. Very, very, very important. Okay, the next form that we're going to study are verse-chorus form, which is the most popular kind of forms today. Okay, we had AABA, modified AABA, country bridge, and now a completely different animal called verse-chorus.
What page are you?
Okay, eventually the introductory verse, remember the introductory verse of the classic AABA song was dropped, leaving the chorus to represent the whole song. So that's where the word chorus really came from. So, the AABA forms are really intimate. Savor the moment. They're love songs. They're very intimate because they don't have a chorus that comes out and takes you out of the song and celebrates the weekend, So you're back here. AABA, country bridge, modified AABA are pretty much self-contained sort of intimate forms. Now the verse-chorus forms are different. The chorus takes you out of the song and then brings you back in the verses, and the chorus can take you out. So there are three types of verse-chorus songs we're going to be looking at. Verses with the same choruses, verses with revisioned choruses, and I'll tell you what that is, and then verses with different choruses. Same choruses every time, revisioned choruses, which are the same chorus except they mean something different now because of information from the verses, which is one of my favorite types of forms. And then verses with different choruses every time. Effective opening lines. It's really can be very, very helpful, especially to keep the listener, get them involved, get them engaged. Often they introduce an ambiguity, like, I think I know what this is, or what is he telling me this for? Go listen to these songs and listen to the opening lines. And I've written down here some of them. My Strongest Weakness, wonderful song that Wynonna Judd recorded. The opening line is, Keeper of the gates of wisdom, please let me in. If that don't slap you in the face, Keeper of the gates of wisdom, please let me in. I mean, I'm in, I wrote a song called In the Middle, and the opening line is, I have stopped to smoke a cigarette when I reached the top of Everest.
When you reach the top of Everest?
Yes.
Okay.
The song is, but you keep me in the middle, not too much or too little. Yeah. keep it in mind, opening lines can be really effective. Don't just, the real trick is not to make it sound like you really thought of it. Like,
Like it's not too contrived.
Not too contrived, not too heavy, not too sounding important when maybe it shouldn't. All of this eventually ends up as a matter of taste, right? But keep it in mind, opening lines, strong opening lines are very important. So now, just in the little bit that we've covered in this book, if you're listening to a song intentionally, you could listen for how many things? You could listen to the form. You could listen to where the title is, title placement, and strong opening lines. You know what I mean? So when you're listening to a song, you could listen to it one time down just for the form and teach yourself that form. Listen to it the second time, where's the title? Write these things down in your notebook too. You don't have to keep it all in your head until you can keep it all in your head. And then the third pass, you're basically teaching yourself to listen. You're drawing these mental maps. The third pass might be, let's listen for the opening line. Is it strong? Is it a throwaway? How important was that opening line? And then when you get good at this, you can listen to a song one time, tell me the form, the opening line, the title placement, and lots of other things too at the same time. So again, these little drop-down black squares in this book are more just like hints. On page 23, another good idea, start with place or action. It can be a good way to jumpstart your lyric. I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee Waltz. That's a nice opening line with action and place in it. Once upon a California summer, two young lovers in each other's arms. Place. Outer banks of North Carolina, there's a sunny little harbor town. Boom. Automatically sets the scene. On a long, lonesome highway somewhere in Texas. Great opening lines. Immediately gets you into something. The screen door slams, another bottle breaks. Boom. You're in. He loaded up his saddle bags, extra boots and blanket. It's springtime and he's leaving Telluride. Yeah. You guys probably do this anyway, often, because you're writers and you're sensitive and you tell stories and, but keep it in mind if you're not. It gives you another thing to listen for. Is that a strong opening line? Does it start with place or action? Gives you a lot of backstory already. Saves you a lot of time. One of my favorite songs by Jimmy Webb's Shattered. That's the very first thing you hear. Shattered like a window pane. It's a great opening line. Shattered. I mean, talk about action. That's really... Okay, another thing on another hint, another helpful hint is too many characters on page 24. Introducing too many characters in your song can be confusing. I don't know that you guys suffer from this, but a lot of young writers do. They overwrite the first verse and they've got for instance, he was born on his daddy's 40 acres. The man told him it's time to leave. So she packed up the boys in their station wagon, called his mother on her 80th Christmas Eve. Okay, who's he? Who's the man? Who is she? Whose station wagon? Who's mother? Whose mother? And whose 80th Christmas Eve? Too much. Too many characters. Too many characters. Keep them out. Writers suffer from that sometimes because they're told to put a lot of furniture in their lyrics or put a lot of description in their lyrics, and you can overpower a lyric with too many characters. It's hard to introduce. It's hard to carry a song with more than two characters, man. You got to be maybe two characters and a baby or something. A couple more. Say it again, only different. This is very helpful. It's a good idea when presenting the title for the first time is to follow up with a line that supports the title and basically says the same thing, only different. For instance, I can't make you love me if you don't. I can't make your heart feel something it won't. Right? You got the title and you got a line right after that supports that title line. Especially if it's a little ambiguous and your listener's going, what does that mean? Then you give another line that explains it. Really, that it's a very important thing. Listen to those examples and listen for that. Say it again, only different. There's a song called "Crazy Girl," and he says, "Crazy girl, silly woman, come here, let me hold you. Crazy girl, silly woman." That instead of you're not crazy, you're like, "Come over here, you big crazy girl, silly woman." So it immediately justifies what that lyric means instead of leaving it up to you to. I wrote a song called "I Must Be Losing Your Memory." And the second line justifies that title. I must be losing your memory because you're harder to remember than you used to be. Mm-hmm. It says it again, only different. Now that happens a lot in country songs. Just to be sure, and the writer isn't intentionally doing this, it's intuitive, But if they miss out on an opportunity to do that and you're left with, I'm not sure what that means, then something's, You can do this. Jake Worthington had a song, still does, called "The State You Left Me In." Now that's ambiguous. It's the state, Texas. It's also the state you left me in. And he wanted to make sure, the writers wanted to make sure that the listener got which side of that meaning they intended by saying, I'm still in the state you left me in. I go a little crazy now and then. Mm-hmm. That really supports what they intended. Takes away that ambiguity. So, again, I can tell you to do this. I'm not tell you to do this, but I can suggest that this would be something helpful, and you can study it and all that, but it's not going to help you as much as identifying it when you hear it in a song.
With what?
It will help way more to be able to identify it when you're listening to a song. Joni Mitchell or anybody else, doesn't have to be a country song, and go, there's the title. Usually it's the title. We're talking about supporting the title, right? I'm still in the state you left me in. I go a little crazy now and then. Oh, the state. Oh, his mental state. I get it. So when you're listening to songs and you hear that title, see if a line that comes next supports it. Or if it doesn't, leaves it ambiguous, which is fine too if the writer wanted it to be ambiguous, But did they maybe miss an opportunity to communicate it a little clearer, So you listen for these things and they show up in your songwriting. And often I've played songs for people and I don't get it. Now did he, I don't get it. Now was he the guy who, you know what I mean? You're like, it's all clear in my head, but you play it for somebody. Now I wasn't sure if, and often it's because the title wasn't supported by a line that justified it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's a place where you really want to make sure that, because the titles, usually it's encompassing the whole idea of the song. So if you want to make sure that that's being communicated, your intention of it being communicated, because language could be interpreted a bunch of different ways, very ambiguous often enough. So one way to be clear, if you want to communicate with your audience, and I think we do, is to support it with a line that says it differently but says the same thing, basically. That's important. Unless, again, if your intention is to remain ambiguous, then don't do that. Say it again, only differently. Okay, this is just a bit of a pet peeve more than anything for me, misstressing. This is a big deal. When you misstress something, you you accent a weak syllable on a strong beat. There's a tiger behind you. Excuse me? There's a tiger behind you. Too late. You've been eaten. There's a tiger behind you. Oh. Right? So when you misstress something, you put emphasis on the wrong accent. It happens all the time. And it can be a pet peeve, and it can be a little anal, or it can be something that you won't put up with. And I personally don't like it when it happens. And it's happened in so many songs. Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, you'll go down in history.
History.
Now, if you learn this stuff and you know the difference, it'll haunt you the rest of your life when you hear songs. You'll hear misstressing all the time. Smile and maybe tomorrow. Smile even though you're crying. Smile even though da-da-da-da. Smile and maybe tomorrow.
Maybe.
Maybe tomorrow. Now if you spoke it like that, smile and maybe tomorrow, you'll be fine. You think he was crazy. Smile and maybe tomorrow, you'll see the sun shining through. And all you have to do is adjust the melody. There's always room in the pocket, in that measure or two or whatever it is, in that half measure, in that quarter measure, whatever it is, plenty of time to adjust that lyric where that doesn't have to land on a strong beat. Maybe tomorrow. Smile and maybe tomorrow. There it is. Smile and maybe tomorrow. Huh? In that song, Live Like You Were Dying, I spent most of the next days looking at the x-rays. I spent most of the next days looking at the x-rays. I spent most of the next days.
On the next day.
Next days. And you know what you do? You lose meaning. You lose meaning, because if I say there's a tiger behind you, you don't know what? But if I say there's a tiger, immediately you get it. So you're trading groove or coolness, for meaning. And if you want to communicate with your listeners, you might want to check over your lyric for misstressed words. It happens all the time. And here's the thing, though. Remember this. I don't obsess about it while I'm writing. It's a rewrite thing. I'll go back over my lyric after I've written the song and see if there's moments where I misstressed it, that I could fix that. Don't let it stop the flow, But it's a good rewrite thing to check for misstressed words, if you care enough. If you care to communicate with your audience. Walk like an Egyptian. I'm not talking about moving in. I'm not talking about moving in. Moving in. Moving in. Moving in. Moving in. I'm not talking about moving in. Solved. In that great song from Brandy Clark, there's a line in there, the ride up or the ride down.
Stress on the.
Yeah, the ride up or the ride. See, it lands on a strong beat, and it shouldn't. The ride up or the ride down. It's the ride up or the ride down. Ride. Sing it like you say it. The bomb's bursting in air. Sing it like you say it. Communicate with your audience by checking over those misstressed words, and you'll hear them all the time in songs. It's become almost something you do to be, to kind of mess with the language some. when you hear popular songs. It's like they know what they're doing, and they're going, okay, watch this, and they just beat it to death. You know what I mean? So if it's done as a device and you're intentionally doing it, I can live with that. If it's an intentional choice and you're beating up the lyric by misstressing the damn thing, but you know you did it, I'll give you that. Because you're like, I want to be unconventional, I want to be ambiguous, and okay, you don't want to communicate with the audience maybe as well as you could, but if it's intentional, cool. But to not know that you've done it, that's just sloppy. It's just really sloppy. So, there's a song, What'll Keep Me Out of Heaven by Brandy Clark. You see that on there? You see that title there, laying there on that page? No?
Well, yeah.
Page 24?
Yeah.
Okay, What'll Keep Me Out of Heaven? There's a great line in there. There's a line that she says, but I've never been alone with him in this dress after dark. But I've never been alone with him in this dress after dark.
Okay.
Shop. Right. I've met him in the park, but I've never been alone with him in this dress after dark. Now, see, that's a difference. That's an articulation. She's saying in this dress instead of this dress. That's how you would say it. It's misset, but it's for an for meaning. Yeah. In this dress, like, oh, red little mini skirt. But I've never been alone with him in this dress after dark. So that's misset, yeah, if you're looking at it that way. But if it's an articulation that has meaning behind it, yeah, keep that. In this dress after dark. It wouldn't mean as much in this dress after dark. It has some overtone to that, but not as cool as in this dress after dark. Do you see the difference between articulation and missetting?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Again, this stuff here that we're talking about now is way down in the weeds with songwriting. This is like the 3% that makes good songs great. Or I'm just telling you stuff you already know and taking your money for something you already know. This is the 3%. A lot of this is forms and stuff but this, especially these little drop-down box things, begin with the end in mind, look at misstressing, those kinds of things. Honestly, those are the little bullet points that make good songs great. The difference between a good song and a great song is like 3%. It's God's in the details. It's these little things like in this dress after dark that really make a song. That's what I just said. Misstressing has become like a device, something cool. You know what I mean?
I don't get that, but I'm old, so
No, I mean it's a hip hop thing.
Oh.
That's come into others. So it's become kind of cool to do that, to mess with the language like that. And like I said earlier, if you're doing it intentionally, okay. Mm-hmm. But if it's like, oh, I didn't know I did that. There's a tiger behind you. Mm-hmm. It's just sloppy. Mm-hmm. So I'm for anything. I'm for anything if it's intentional. But you always, in those cases, you always trade the performance, the hip, messing with the language. You're trading that performance thing for meaning. Because no one's going to understand what you're talking about, right? So it's up to you, as long as it's intentional. So and you don't have to trade one for the other. They're not mutually exclusive. You can make sense and be cool. There's always room in the melody to do that. So, and it's best to look at it as a rewrite. Mm-hmm. That's before the difference between song form and song structure. Uh-huh. Song form is the overall conventions versus choruses, A, those sections, And structure is going to be, again, song form. As we get further into these forms and start talking about bridges and tags, that'll be part of the song form as well, right? Structure are going to be those particular things within those forms, like how many verses, It can also include intros, outros, turnarounds. Those are part of the structure rather than the form. The overall form of the bigger categories that we've been talking about. If you think about form as the house, a house, if you think of the form as a house and the structure as the layout, how many rooms, there's a hall here, goes into this room, comes into a bigger area here, that's the structure. So the forms is kind of the house. There's different houses, different forms of houses. Some are ranch style, some are verse chorus, some are AABA, right? But the structure is the layout within the form. That's how I've differentiated these things. So, but you can't know the layout until you get inside the form. Just like you can't know the layout of a house until you get inside the house. All right. So from here on out, we're going to be dealing with verses with choruses. Forget AABA. Goodbye, modified AABA. Goodbye, country bridge. Good to know. You can still use those. They pop up occasionally. We're going through a period now in country music, especially where the verse-chorus forms are the most popular. But we'll come back around to AAB, and you'll hear a song that's in modified AABA or country bridge. They haven't gone away, but verse choruses are the most dominant, and they have been for a little while, for sure.
Are we going to go on to them tonight, or is that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. And that's on page 25, or 26, yeah. And there's three kinds, like I said earlier, there's three kinds of verse-chorus forms. Choruses with the same lyrics, choruses with revisioned lyrics, and choruses with different lyrics every time. Same lyrics, revisioned, and different lyrics. Okay, we're going to listen to the first, we're going to talk about the first one here, verses with same choruses, which is really kind of the definition of a chorus. It's repeated. It's the sing-along. And if you have different choruses, it's hard for people to sing along if the choruses are different. You know what I mean? So verse choruses with the same chorus every time is kind of the standard chorus. You know, that can be very popular. That convention can be a very popular way to write because people are clued into it already. Let's listen to one called Second Wind. I wrote this with Darryl. Love this song. Solo, chorus, out. And again, these are verse-chorus forms, so it's just a matter of, we don't really have to answer the questions like how many, is it two verses up front, then a chorus, then one verse. We don't have to worry about that anymore. It's just verse-chorus forms. So again, it was the same chorus every time, right? Till I catch my second wind. Same chorus every time. What was the setup line?
Rolling it.
Sit and watch the tide roll in till I catch my second wind. Wasn't a perfect rhyme, but it worked, right? Okay, now this is from here on out. Here's how this text works. See, look, you got exercise 14. You see it? Recommend exercise 14. Mm-hmm. Listen to those following examples and identify the structure. Okay, on your own. It's nice to have a notebook, meaning the structure, right? You'll listen, you go, oh, verse. Okay, verse 2, chorus. Verse 3, chorus. Tag out. Okay, listen to them and write down the structure. That's going to help you. It's going to make you listen, which is the point. And then as you listen to those songs, do all that. And I also say see the song lyrics. That can help. And you can get the song lyrics online. Just put it in Google and there you go. Lyric Finder, A-Lyrics, they're all there. It's free, it's wonderful. It's okay to look at that lyric and to justify your choices. You might go, oh, okay, that is first verse. Okay, the second verse. It's nice to look at the lyric while you're listening to the song and answering these questions. What's the form? What's the structure? Why not? Eventually, you want to be able to just listen to a song and be able to answer those questions. But for now, yeah, check out the song lyric if you want to. Or, well, yeah. Or make those decisions and then look at the song lyric and see if you were right. Okay, now here's what's going to happen from now on. You see, below it says, select a song title from your hook book and write in this case, and they all change, in this case, write just a chorus within the following structure. Just write a chorus with the setup line, which is the next to the last line of the chorus, just like Second Wind, just like the other 4 songs up there that you'll be listening to. The word penultimate, that means next to last. It's a nice word, penultimate. Instead of saying next to last line, it's the penultimate. That's a good word. So I just want you to write a chorus only with a title from your hook book, and the title is going to be the first and the last line of each chorus. Of the chorus, just like, till I catch my second wind, get back up and gain control again, find the peace I lost back when you stopped loving me. I guess I'll just stay out here until I know the coast is clear, sit and watch the tide roll in till I catch my second wind. So those are bookended. It's the first line of the chorus and the second and the end of the chorus, bookended. So I want you to write with the title from your hook book, just write a chorus only following that example. The setup line is the next to the last line of the chorus, which rhymes with the chorus, which rhymes with the title. And the title is the first line of the chorus and at the end of the chorus.
And the last line.
And the last line of the chorus, bookended. So you don't, again, don't write a whole song, just write a chorus with a title from your hook book, put it at the beginning and the end of the chorus, put the setup line, the next to last or penultimate line of the chorus, and you'll emulate what these are doing as well. You'll be hopefully listen to those examples to get that, listen intentionally for that, and then write a section utilizing that. It's about writing choruses and bridges and verses and this before it's about writing full songs. I think that'll really be effective. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? Do you see the assignment? Does it make sense to you? Okay. Just a chorus only. You can write the music. You can just write the lyric. Till I catch my second wind. Get back up and gain control again. Find the strength I lost back when you stopped loving me. It's a double chorus, right? It's 4 and 4. Guess I'll stay out here till I know the coast is clear. Sit and watch the tide roll in. Setup line, next to last line to the chorus, till I catch my second wind. Bookended. Just write a chorus. It can be 8 lines. It can be 4 lines. Just make sure that those things are placed where that's asking. And it'll really help you to listen to those other songs with that intention in mind. Title placement, setup line. It's going to really help you to listen for these things. And it'll show up in your writing for sure. So just a chorus. Verse-chorus structure, verses with the same choruses. Setup line next to last line of the chorus. Okay, this is a little more challenging. Listen to the following song examples and identify the structure. But we are listening to verse-chorus forms with the same choruses. That's what this whole section's about. Verses with the same choruses every time. If you listened further, you'd be able to identify the structure, like, oh, there's another verse, it actually modulates, then the chorus repeats. Again, these are the same chorus every time. So, so where was the title?
The last line, isn't it?
Of?
Am I the only thing that you've done wrong?
That's the title, but where is it in the song?
It's the last line of the chorus.
Last line of the chorus.
But it was also the last line of first verse.
That's right.
Last line of the first verse.
Yeah, exactly. Seems I'm always here alone. Setup line.
The only thing
You've done wrong. Am I the only one that you've forgotten on the way? Say the same thing, only different. Maybe. Yeah. And then at the end of the chorus, in your long line of successes, tell me, where do I belong? Am I the only thing you've done wrong? Title's at the end of the verse and end of the chorus. Very cool. The setup line, of course, is at the next to last line of the chorus. You wouldn't have the setup line. Oh, no, it's at the end of the, it's the setup lines in the verse as well. Seems I'm always here alone.
Always here alone.
Am I the only thing you've done wrong? That's a near rhyme.